Right. Exercise 21.1. Question number 1. Write down the ratio for each of the following examples and express it in simplest form. First one, the number of boys in a class is 20 and the number of girls is 25. Right. So question number 1, part 1. So we have boys to girls. Right. So the number of boys are 20 to number of girls are 25. So this is a ratio. So we can divide both terms by what? 5. So 20 divided by 5, we get a 4. 5 divided by 5, we get a 5. So this will be the answer. Part 2. The price of a pen is 15 rupees. The price of a pencil is 10 rupees and the price of an eraser is 5 rupees. So we have pen to pencil to eraser, right? So price of a pen is 15 rupees to pencil 10 rupees to 5. So in this ratio we have 3 terms. So we can divide each term by 5. 15 divided by 5, we know that's a 3. 10 divided by 5, we know that's a 2. 5 divided by 5, we know that's a 1. So the ratio is what? 3 to 2 to 1. Right? So this will be the answer. Right. Part 3. The ingredients for a cake are 1 kilogram of flour, 500 grams of sugar and 500 grams of margarine. Right? So we have flour to sugar to margarine. So we have 1 kilogram of flour now. So other ingredients are given to us in grams. So we know 1 kilogram, that is equal to 1000 grams now. Right? So we will write the amount of flour in grams. So it will be 1000. So sugar, that is 500 grams. Margarine, that is also 500 grams. Okay. So we have 3 terms. So first of all, I will divide each term by 100. So this becomes a 10, this becomes a 5, this becomes a 5. Then I will divide each of these terms by 5. So this becomes a 2, this is 1 and this is 1. So the ratio is what? 2 to 1 to 1. So there's another way also, right? So if we consider the terms 1000, 500 and 500, right? So we can divide each of these terms by what? 500. Then we can get at once the answer or the simplified version of this ratio at once as 2 to 1 to 1, skipping this step. Anyway, whichever method you have used, right? The simplest form should be this. Part 4. The price of a mandarin is P rupees, simple P rupees. The price of an orange is simple Q rupees. And the price of an apple is simple R rupees. Right. So we have mandarin, then we have orange, then we have apple. Now the prices are given to us as what? Algebraic terms, no? So we can write P to Q to R. This is the simplest form. Question number 2. Exercise 21.1. For each of the following ratios, write down 2 equivalent ratios. Right? So part 1. So we have 2 to 3. So when we have to write down equivalent ratios, simply what do we have to do? So this ratio, it has 2 terms now, right? So we have to multiply both terms by the same number. So that number should be a whole number. So the answer depends on the whole number that you have used, right? So I will multiply the first term and the second term by what? 6, right? So 2 into 6, it will be what? 12. 3 into 6, it will be what? 18. So we need to write 2 equivalent ratios now. So I will multiply the first term for the second equivalent ratio. I will multiply the first term and the second term by what? 25. So 25 into 2, it becomes what? 50. And 3 into 25, what is that? 75. Right. Part 2. So I have 6 to 5 to 7. So I will multiply this ratio by 4. So 6 times 4, what is that? 24. 5 times 4, what is that? 20. 7 times 4, what is that? 28. So for the next equivalent ratio, I will multiply this ratio by 6. So 6 into 10, that is 60. 5 into 10, that is 50. 7 into 10, that is 70. Right. So for this ratio, I will multiply the first term by 20. So 1 into 20, that is 20. 4 into 20, that is 80. 5 into 20, that is 100. So for the next ratio, I will multiply each of the terms by 50. So 1 into 50, 50. 4 into 50, 200, right? 5 into 50, that is 250. Question number 3. Express each of the following ratios in its simplest form, right? So part 1, we have 12 to 18. So I can divide each of these terms by 3. So 12 divided by 3, I get a 4. 18 divided by 3, I get a 6. So further I can simplify. I can divide both of these terms by what? 2. So 4 divided by 2, I get a 2. 6 divided by 2, I get a 3. Right. So second part of that question. So this ratio has 3 terms. Okay. So I will divide by 7. 28 divided by 7, I get a 4. 70 divided by 7, I get a 10. 42 divided by 7, I get a 6. Now I can divide each of these terms by 2. 4 divided by 2, I get a 2. 10 divided by 2, I get a 5. 6 divided by 2, I get a 3. So 2 to 5 to 3. Right. So part 3. So this ratio has 3 terms. So I can divide each of them by 25. 25 divided by 25, I get a 1. 100 divided by 25, I get a 4. 125 divided by 25, I get a 5. Right. Question number 4. The sides of a triangle are 7 centimeters, 50 millimeters and 6 centimeters and 5 millimeters. Find the ratio of the lengths of the sides and express it in the simplest form. First of all, we need to understand that when we are doing calculations regarding ratios, right? All the terms must be in the same unit, right? So here we have centimeters, millimeters, centimeters and also millimeters. So the very first thing that we need to do is convert all these 3 units into a 1 unit, right? So I will take this as A to B to C, right? So we will convert all of these measurements into millimeters, right? So 7 centimeters, when we convert this into millimeters, what do we have to do? 7 into 10, no? So this becomes 70 millimeters, right? So this is 70 millimeters. To 50 millimeters, it is already given to us in millimeters, so we don't have to do any conversions. Right, so now we will take 6 centimeters and 5 millimeters, right? And I will erase this. So we have to convert this entire measurement into millimeters. So we don't have to do any conversions to the millimeter part. We only have to do the conversion to the 6 centimeter part. So 6, we have to multiply that by 10. So we get 60 millimeters. To that, we have to add 5 millimeters, right? So we get what? 65 millimeters. So C will be what? 65. millimeters. Right, so now we will write down the ratio. So as we can see, the three terms are converted to the same unit. So we will write ignoring the units, right? So 72, 52, 65. Now we will divide all three of them by 5. So this becomes 14 to, this becomes what? 10 to 13. So this is the answer. Exercise 21.2. Question number 1. 1500 rupees was divided between Sumudu and Kumudu in the ratio 2 to 3. Find the amount each received. Right. So we have Sumudu and we have Kumudu. Right. So what is the ratio? 2 to 3. So what is the total number of parts? 2 plus 3, no? So the total number of parts are what? 5. That means out of 5 equal parts, even though this is just a number 5, this means what? 5 equal parts. So out of 5 equal parts, 2 parts are Sumudus and the rest of the parts belongs to what? Belongs to whom? Kumudu. So here we need to calculate what? What is the value of one part? If the total number of parts are equal to what? Right? We are dividing 1500 to a ratio, no? That means the total value is equal to 1500. Right? So we take this number and we divide it by 5. Right? So Sumudu gets 2 parts, Kumudu gets 3 parts. That means how do we calculate the value of one part? Simply take 1500 and divide it by 5. So what will be the value? 300 rupees. In this case, these are rupees, no? So this value will be what? Rupees. So this is the value of one part. How many parts are Sumudu getting? 2. So what will be the amount that Sumudu gets? Simply take the value of one part, multiply it by number of parts, which is what? 2. So 300 into 2, we get 600 rupees. Then when we talk about Kumudu, right? How many parts does she gets? 3. What is the value of one part? 300. So 300 into 3, we get what? 900 rupees. So that will be the answer. Right. Question number 2. Copper is added to gold in gold jewelry such that the ratio of copper to gold is 1 to 11. Find the mass of gold and copper needed to make a necklace of mass 60 grams. Right. So we have what? Copper to gold. So what is the ratio? 1 to 11. What is the total parts? Here we have 1, here we have 11. So simply we have to add those two together. So we get 12. Right. So that means out of 12 equal parts, one part is copper, and out of 12 equal parts, 11 parts are gold. Right? Right. So here what do we have to do? We have to calculate the mass of copper and gold of a necklace which has a mass of 60 grams. So here we need to calculate the value of one part. So total number of parts are what? 12. So what is the value of one part? 60. We have to divide it by 12. So we get 5. What are these? We have divided grams, no? 60 grams. So here the answer is also what? 5 grams. Right. So what is the amount of copper here? How do we find it? Value of one part. So this is copper. So value of one part, which is 5 grams. We have to multiply that by what? Number of parts. So regarding copper, that will be 1. So 5 grams into 1, that is 5 grams. So what is the amount of gold? We can do this calculation, or what else we can do? The total amount is what? 60, no? 60 grams. From that, we can subtract the amount of copper, right? So it will be 55 grams. Or simply if we follow the first method, what is the value of one part? 5 grams. We need to multiply that by number of parts, which is 11. So we get what? 55 grams. Right, question number 3. The ratio of boys to girls in a school is 5 to 4. Right? So we have boys to girls. Right? So that is 5 to 4. If the total number of students in the school is 1800. 1800. This is the total number of students. Find the number of boys and the number of girls that are in the school. Right. So what is the total number of parts? 5 plus 4. So we get a 9. So from 9 parts, 5 are what? Boys. And from 9 parts, 4 are what? Girls. Right? So here, just as before, we have to calculate the value of one part. So what do we have to do? Take 1800 and divide it by the total number of parts, which is 9. So now imagine these are just numbers, right? So 1800 divided by 9, we get what? 200. So that is the value of one part. So what is the number of boys? Value of one part, which is 200, we have to multiply that by what? Number of parts, which is 5. So we get what? 1000. So the number of boys are what? 1000. So if the number of boys are 1000, what is the number of girls? 1800. That is the total number of boys and girls, right? So we have to subtract 1000 from it. So we get what? 800. Question number 4. A landowner divides his land of 1800 square meters between his son and his daughter in the ratio 5 to 3. How much of the land does the son receive? Right? So we have the son and the daughter. Son and the daughter. So the ratio is what? 5 to 3. The ratio is 5 to 3. What is the total land amount? 1800 square meters. Okay, so what is the total number of parts? 5 plus 3, that will be 8. Okay, so that means out of 8 equal parts, the son is receiving 5, and out of 8 equal parts, the daughter is receiving 3. So what is the value of one part? The total amount of the land is 1800 square meters. We have to divide it by 8, right? So 1800, we have to divide it by 8. So 8 times 1 and 8 times 2, and we get a 20. For 20, 8 times 2 is 16. So we get a remainder of 4. That means for 40, we get 5. So value of one part is what? 225. So these are square meters. Square meters. They are asking us to calculate the amount of land which is received by the son. Right? So how do we calculate it? We know the value of one part, which is 225. How many parts does the son receive? 5, no? So we simply have to multiply that by 5. Right? So 200 into 5, that is 1000. 25 into 5, that is 125. So altogether we get 1125 square meters. Right? And we need to find the amount of land the daughter receives also. Right? So what can we do? So this is the amount of land that the son receives now. Right? Which is 1125. So I will write it here. Right? So the total amount of land is what? 1800. So the son receives 1125 square meters of it. So the difference means what? The amount that the daughter receives. right? So simply we have to subtract this. So 1800 minus 1125. So 0 minus 5 we can't do. 10 minus 5, that's a 5. Here the remaining digit is 9. 9 minus 2, that's a 7. Here the remaining digit is 7. 7 minus 1, that's a 6. So the daughter gets 675 square meters. 675 square meters. Okay, so if we consider the usual method, how do we come up with the answer? Right? So the daughter, right? What is the value of one part? 225. How many parts does the daughter receive? 3 parts. So we have to multiply this by 3. So 200 into 3, we know that is 600, right? 25 into 3, that is 75. So when we add these together, we get what? 675. These are what? Square meters. Right? So I will write the answers again. So the son receives what? 1125 square meters, and the daughter receives 675 square meters. So those are the answers. Question number 5. Rice flour, sugar, coconut are mixed in the ratio 4 to 3 to 1 to prepare a certain sweet meat mixture. Find the mass of each ingredient in 2 kilograms of the sweet meat. Right. So what is the ratio? 4 to 3 to 1. So what is the total number of parts? 4 plus 3 plus 1, which is 8. So that means out of 8 equal parts, 4 parts are rice flour, and out of 8 equal parts, 3 parts are sugar, and out of 8 parts, 1 part, that is what? Coconut. Right. So what is the total mass of the mixture? 2 kilograms. So we will convert this into grams. So it will be 2000 grams. So the total number of parts are what? 8. So we have to calculate the value of 1 part. That means what? 2000 we have to divide it by 8. Right? So 8 times 1. So here 8 times 2, that is 16. 20 minus 16, we get a 4. So for 40, 8 times 5. So we get what? 250. So those are grams. So value of 1 part, that is what? 250 grams. So what is the mass of rice flour? How do we calculate it? What is the value of 1 part? 250. We have to multiply that by what? How many parts are there? 4. So we get what? 1000 grams. Right. So if we consider sugar, what is the value of 1 part? 250. We have to multiply that by what? Number of parts. So which is 3. So 250 into 3, what is that? 750 grams. Right. So the amount of coconut, what is the value of 1 part? 250. How many parts are there? 1. So this will be what? 250 grams. Right. So those are the answers. Question number 6. A high nutrient food item is made of green gram, soya and rice mixed in the ratio 2 to 1 to 3. Compute the amount of rice in a 840 gram packet of this food item. Right? So we have green gram. So what is the ratio? 2 to 1 to 3. So here what is the total number of parts? 2 plus 1 plus 3. So the total number of parts are what? 6. Right? So what is the mass of the packet? 840 grams. 840 grams. So we need to calculate the value of 1 part. Right? That means take 840. So we need to divide it by 6. So 6 times 1 and here 6 times 1. So we have a remainder of 2. So 24 divided by 6, that's a 4. Altogether 140. So these are grams. 140 grams. Right. So we need to calculate the amount of rice here. Right. So what will be the amount? What is the value of 1 part? 140 grams. How many parts are there regarding rice? 3 parts. So 140 into 3. 100 into 3, we know that's a 300. 40 into 3, that is 120. So when we add these together, we get 420 grams. So the answer is 420 grams. Okay, question number 7. The ratio of the high school students enrolled in the science, technology and art streams in a school is 3 to 5 to 7. If the total number of high school students in the school is 600, how many students are enrolled in the art stream? So what is the ratio? 3 to 5 to 7. So in any case, we will calculate the total number of parts. That means 3 plus 5 plus 7. 3 plus 5, that is 8. 8 plus 7, that is 15. So the total number of parts are 15. Right. If the total number of high school students in the school is 600. Right. So the total number of students are what? 600. How many students are enrolled in the art stream? Right. So here we have to calculate the value of one part. So take 600 and we will divide it by 15. Right. So 15 times 1, 15 times 40. So value of one part is what? 40. So what is the number of students enrolled to arts? We have calculated the value of one part. So it is 40. What is the number of parts related to arts? 7. So 40 into 7. We get what? 280. So 280 students enrolled into the art stream. Right. Question number 8. The ratio of length to breadth of a rectangular playground is 3 to 2. If its perimeter is 600 meters, find its length and its breadth. Right. So in this question, we have to be careful. Right. So we know when we talk about perimeter of a rectangle, when we talk about perimeter of a rectangle, what is that? Length plus breadth into 2. So here perimeter is what? 600 meters, that is given to us. Right? 2 times length plus breadth. So we can divide this side by 2. Do the same thing to the other side. So we get what? 300, that is equal to length plus breadth. So this is an equation. No? So I can flip the sides. I can switch the sides. Right? So I can rewrite this expression as what? Length plus breadth, that is equal to 300. So this is really important. Why? Since we are talking about a perimeter, right? This is a ratio related question. No? So here we need to calculate the total number of parts. Right? So unlike the other questions, here the total number of parts should be equal to 300, not to 600. So I'm going to write length to breadth. Length to breadth. Right? So what is the ratio? 3 to 2. Now what is the total number of parts? 3 plus 2, which will be 5. So what is the value of one part? What is that? Not 600 divided by 5, but 300 divided by 5. So we will get what? 600. So these are meters. Then what will be the length? Value of one part, which is 60 meters, we have to multiply that by 3. 60 into 3, we get 180 meters. Breadth, value of one part is 60, we have to multiply that by 2. So we get 120 meters. So these are the two answers. Right. Exercise 21.3. Under that, question number 1. Sugar and flour were mixed in the ratio 3 to 5 to prepare a mixture of sweetmeat. If the mass of sugar used was 750 grams, right? So sugar was used 750 grams. Find the total mass of the sweetmeat mixture, right? Okay, so first of all, we have to try to understand this question, right? So here, sugar and flour were mixed into a certain ratio, right? And the amount of sugar that was used is 750 grams, right? So we know the ratio, no? We know the amount of sugar and we know the ratio 3 to 5, right? So in the question they are asking us what? Calculate the total mass of the mixture, right? Am I correct? Yes. Find the total mass of the sweetmeat mixture. Okay? So what is the first thing that we need to do? Now we know how much was used in the sweetmeat mixture. How much sugar? That is 750 grams. We don't know the amount of flour that was used. Right? මේ mixture එකේ පිටි කොච්චරක් ගත්තද කියන එක අපි දන්නේ නැත්තේ. But we have some information that we can find the amount of flour that has been used. What is that? We know the ratio, which is 3 to 5. We know the amount of sugar, which is 750 grams. By using those information, what can we find? We can find what? The value of 1 part. What is the value of 1 part? That is equal to what? 750, we have to divide it by 3, no? Right? So 3 times 1, 3 times 2 and 5 and 0. So value of 1 part is 250. Now these are what? These are grams, right? So if 1 part is 250 grams, how much is 5 parts? From that we can calculate the mass of flour, right? So the mass of flour, value of 1 part into total number of parts, right? 250 into 5, what is that? 1250 grams, right? So the total mass, what is that? Total mass 750 grams plus 1250 grams. So what is that? 2000 grams, or we can say 2 kilograms, right? So that will be the answer. Right, question number 2. Sirimal rides a bike from his house to the bus halt and then takes a bus when he travels to school. The ratio of the distance he travels by bike to the distance he travels by bus is 2 to 7. Okay, so we will first of all write it down. Bike to bus. So the ratio is 2 to 7. If the distance he travels by bus is 14 kilometers, right? So by using the bus, the distance is what? 14 kilometers. Okay. What is the distance to the school from his house? So basically, what are they asking? Sirimal, right? He travels from home to the school using by what? First of all, he takes the bike and rides to the bus halt. Then he takes a bus to the school, right? So that is the way that Sirimal goes to school daily according to this question, right? So in the question, we have been given the distance that he travels using the bus, but we don't know what is the distance from his house to the bus halt. Bus halt එකේ බයික් එකේ නැගලානේ. හරිද? ඒකේ අපිට දීලා නැහැ කොච්චරද කියලා. So we have to find it. How can we do it? The first thing is we can easily calculate the value of 1 part. What is 1 part equal to? The distance that he travels using the bus is 14 kilometers. From that we can easily calculate the value of 1 part. What do we have to do? 14 we have to divide by 7. So that will be what? 2. So 1 part is equal to 2. So here, what is this 2? These are kilometers. So we know the value of 1 part, which is 2 kilometers, right? Then what is the distance that he used the bike to ride to the bus halt? the distance between the home and the bus halt? What is that? How many parts are there? 2. What is the value of one equal part? 2 kilometers. So, one equal part is equal to 2 kilometers. How many equal parts are there? 2. So, what is the total amount? 2 into 2, which is 4 kilometers. Now, we know the distance from Sirimal's home to the bus halt is 4 kilometers, and the distance that he travels is 14 kilometers. Then what is the total amount? 18 kilometers. 18 kilometers. Right. Question number 3. A fruit drink is made using water and orange juice in the ratio 5 to 7. Right? So water and orange juice, the ratio is 5 to 7. If the quantity of the orange juice used is 350 milliliters, right? So orange juice, it has been used 350 milliliters. What is the total volume of the fruit drink that is made? Right. So by taking a look at the ratio, right, we know it is 5 to 7, and also 7 parts are equal to what? 350 milliliters. So we can calculate the value of 1 part. That means what? 350 we have to divide by 7. 350 divided by 7, we know that is 50. These are milliliters. So 1 part is equal to 50 milliliters. So we know the amount of orange juice that has been used. So we need to calculate the value of water. Value in the sense, the amount, right, in milliliters, right? So how can we do that? Here we have 5 parts. We know the amount of 1 part is 50 milliliters. Then therefore 5 parts. So this is water. So that is what? 50 into 5, which will be 250 milliliters. Right. So now what do we have to do? We know the amount of orange juice, which is 350 milliliters, and we have calculated the amount of water that has been used, which is 250 milliliters. Simply what do we have to do? We have to add these together. So 350 plus 250, what is that? 600, no? 600 milliliters. So that is the answer. Right. So we can come up with the answer in this way also. Right? So we know the value of 1 part. How many total parts are there? Right? We have water and orange juice, no? So the ratio is 5 to 7. Right? So what is the total number of equal parts? 5 plus 7, what is that? 5 plus 7, we get 12. So we know the value of 1 part is 50 milliliters. Therefore, value of 12 parts, what is that? 50 into 12. Right? So what do we get? 600. So these are what? Milliliters. Right. Question number 4. The ratio of nitrogen to phosphorus to potassium in a fertilizer is 5 to 2 to 1. If the mass of phosphorus in a bag of this fertilizer is 250 grams, what is the total mass of the bag? Okay, so I have written down the ratio nitrogen to phosphorus to potassium 5 to 2 to 1. Right? So we have been given in this mixture, right, the amount of phosphorus is 250 grams. Right? 250. Okay. So from that we can calculate the value of 1 part. Right? 2 parts are equal to 250 grams. Then what is the value of 1 part? Simply take 250 and divide it by 2. So what do we get? 125 grams. We need to calculate the total mass now. Right? How many parts are here in total? 5 plus 2 plus 1, which is 8. If 1 part is equal to 125 grams, what is the value of 8 parts? How do we calculate it? Take 8 and multiply it by 125. So 100 into 8, what is that? 800 grams. 25 into 8, we know that is 200 grams. When we add these two together, we get 1000 grams. So here the answer is what? 1000 grams, or we can say what? 1 kilogram. Both answers are correct. Right. So in this question, there's another way also. Right? So that way is, we can separately calculate the amount of nitrogen, right, and potassium. The amount of phosphorus that has been given to us now. So we calculated the value of 1 part, right? So by using that information, we can calculate the amount of phosphorus and potassium, right? So if you can remember, the ratio is, right, nitrogen to phosphorus to potassium, the ratio is 5 to 2 to 1. So value of 1 part, 125 grams. So that means the amount of potassium is equal to what? 125 into 1, which is 125 grams. Then the amount of nitrogen is what? 125 into 5, right? So 100 into 5, we know that is 500. 25 into 5, we know that is 125. When we add these together, we get what? 625. So the nitrogen amount is what? 625 grams. We know the phosphorus amount. It has been given to us. So that is what? 250 grams. So what can we do? We can add these values together, right? So that means 125, then we have 250, and then we have 625. 1 plus 2 plus 3 to calculate the total, right? So what do we get? 1000 grams, 1 kilograms. So when we add these values, right, there's another way we can do this, right? So 25 plus 25, we know that's a 50. 50 plus 50, we know that's 100, right? So keep it in your mind. So there's 100. 600 plus 200, we know that is 800. 800 plus 100, we know that is 900. 900 plus that 100 that we kept, what is that? 1000 grams, right? When making a mixture of plaster, the ratio in which cement, lime and sand are mixed is 2 to 3 to 5. If the quantity of lime in a mixture of plaster is 6 pans, so lime, we have 6 pans. What is the total quantity of mixture measured in pans? Okay, so just as before, we can calculate the value of 1 part, right? We know the term related to lime and we know the number of pans, right? Okay, so these are pans. Tachi kineka. Sorry. So value of 1 part is what? 6 divided by 3. So we get 2. These are what? Pans. Tachi. How many total parts are there? So how many total parts are there? 2 plus 3 plus 5, which is 10. If 1 part is 2 pans, what is 10 parts? What do we have to do? 2, we have to multiply that by 10. What do we get? 20, but these are pans. Tachi. So that is the answer. Okay, exercise 21.4, under that question number 1. Sesame balls are made by mixing sesame and jaggery in the ratio 5 to 4. So we will write that. How much jaggery is required to make sesame balls if 500 grams of sesame is used? Right. So we know the amount of sesame that has been used, which is 500 grams. So we can calculate the value of one part, right? So what is the value of one part? 500 divided by 5. So what do we get? 100. So these are grams, right? So what are they asking? How much jaggery is required if 500 grams of sesame is used? So we have to calculate the amount of jaggery, no? Right. So how many parts are there? 4. So what can we do? The number of equal parts are 4. We know the value of one part, which is 100. So we need to multiply that by 4, right? So value of 4 parts. So this 4 means what? Number of equal parts, right? So that is equal to the term. We are referring the term here, right? So this is equal to what? 100 into 4, which is 400 grams. Right, question number 2. The ratio of female workers to male workers in an office is 3 to 2, right? So female to male. If there are 18 female workers, so number of female workers are what? 18. Find the number of male workers, right? So just as before, here we can calculate what is equal to one part. 18, we have to divide it by 3. So we get what? 6. So they are asking us how many male workers are there. If one part is equal to 6, how many parts are there for males? Or what is the term in the ratio related to males? 2. So what do we have to do? We have to multiply this by 2. So value of 2 parts, right? So this is what? Number of males, right? So 6 we have to multiply that by 2. So we get what? 12. Question number 3. Tea and milk are mixed in the ratio 2 to 5. When making milk tea, how many milliliters of tea should be used to make milk tea if 100 milliliters of milk is used? So here the amount of milk in milliliters we know, which is 100 milliliters. So try to understand this question, right? Now the ratio has been given to us now, 2 to 5. So you have to remember, right? Even though that these are numbers or terms, right? These are equal parts, right? So I'm not telling that 2 is equal to 5, right? So how many total parts are here? 2 plus 5, what is that? 7. Those 7 parts are equal. We have a 7 of equal parts. එක සමාන කොටස් 7ක් තියෙනවා. 7ක් වුණාට ඒ කොටස් 7ම එක සමානයි. Right? So we have been given the amount of milk in milliliters, which is 100. So from there we can find the value of one part. One part is equal to what? 100 we have to divide by 5. That means what? 20. In this case these are milliliters. Right. So they are asking the amount of tea, no? So that means, what is the term there? 2. That means 2 equal parts, right? So value of 2 parts. So what is that? 20 into 2, which is 40 milliliters. Question number 4. Mr. Pereira's saving to expenditure ratio is 3 to 7. So I'll put S for saving and E for expenditure, right? So the ratio is 3 to 7. If his savings during a certain month was 6,000 rupees, how much money did he spend that month? So here also we can calculate the value of one part, no? Right? So savings that has been given to us, no? What is that? 6,000 rupees, right? So what is the value of one part? 6,000 we have to divide it by 3. So what do we get? 2,000. So that is the value of one part. So in expenditure or expenses, we have 7 parts. So the amount or value of 7 parts. So 2,000 we have to multiply that by 7. We get what? 14,000 rupees. Question number 5. An alloy is made by mixing masses of zinc and copper in the ratio 2 to 5. So the ratio is 2 to 5. So we have several parts in the question. So part 1. If the mass of zinc in a sample of this alloy is 6 kilograms, what is the mass of copper? So here, what is the amount of zinc? We have 6 kilograms, no? In the ratio 2 to 5, the term under zinc is what? 2, right? That means 2 equal parts is equal to 6 kilograms. So what is the value of one part? 6 divided by 2, which is 3. In this case, these are kilograms. So we need the amount of copper, right? So how many equal parts are there? 5. So 5 parts. That means what? 3 into 5, which is 15 kilograms. Part 2. If the mass of copper in a sample of this alloy is 10 kilograms, what is the mass of zinc? So the amount of copper is 10 kilograms, right? Copper. That means 5 equal parts are what? 10 kilograms. So what is the value of one part? 10. We have to divide by 5. So we get 2 kilograms. Here we are dividing 10 kilograms. Now zinc. How many equal parts are there? 2. So 2 parts. Value of 2 parts. That means 2 into 2, which is 4 kilograms. Third part. Find the mass of copper in 28 kilograms of the alloy. So now the alloy, the weight of that is given to us, right? Which is what? 28 kilograms. Okay. So we need to calculate what? The mass of copper. So here, how many total parts are there? The ratio is 2 to 5. That means number of equal parts are what? 7. Right? Now, out of those 7 equal parts, right? 5 parts are copper and 2 parts are zinc. So in the question they are asking, find the mass of copper in 28 kilograms of alloy. So we need to calculate the amount of copper, right? So we need to calculate the value of one part, right? So value of one part, that means what? 28 we have to divide by 7. Now we are talking about the alloy, right? 28 divided by 7, we know that is 4. So these are 4 kilograms, right? So they are asking the amount of copper, no? So the term is what? 5. So 5 parts is equal to what? 4 into 5, which is 20 kilograms. Part 4. If the mass of zinc in a sample of this alloy is 2 kilograms, what is the mass of the sample? Right. So that means the amount of zinc, right, is 2 kilograms. But that is the amount of zinc in this alloy. Alloy එකේම zinc kilogram දෙකක් තියෙනවා. So that means we can find the value of one part. So that is what? 2 we have to divide by 2. So we get 1. So these are kilograms. Now we need to find the total mass, no? Sample එකේ බර කීයද කියලා නහන්නේ. How many total parts are there? 2 plus 5, 7. So 7 parts. That means what? 1 into 7, which is 7 kilograms. Okay, miscellaneous questions under that. Question number 1. Silver and copper were mixed in the ratio 2 to 3 to make a statue. If the mass of the statue is 1425 grams, so the total mass is what? 1425 grams. Find the mass of silver in the statue. Okay. So they are asking about the mass of silver. So we know the total mass and the ratio we know, which is 2 to 3. So we can clearly calculate the value of one part. So one part is equal to what? One part is equal to 1425 divided by 5. So here what do we get? 14 divided by 5 we get 2. For 42 we get 8. For 25 we get what? 5. So the value of one part is 285 grams. So they are asking the amount of silver, no? So how many parts are there in the ratio regarding silver? We have 2 parts. So value of 2 parts. We need to calculate the value of 2 parts. That means 285 into 2, right? So 200 into 2, we know that is 400. 80 into 2, we know that is 160. 5 into 2, we know that is 10. So altogether, how many are there? We have 570 grams. So this is equal to what? 570 grams. Question number 2. Kamalini, Nimal and Tharaka divided several Verulu, within brackets, olives, among themselves in the ratio 1 to 3 to 5. So we have Kamalini, then we have Nimal, then we have Tharaka. So I have put KNT, right? So the ratio is 1 to 3 to 5. If Tharaka received 15 Veralu, right? So Tharaka got 15 Veralu. How many Veralu did Kamalini receive? So Tharaka received 15, no? Right? So we know the term related to Tharaka is 5. That means we can calculate the value of 1 part. So that is what? 15 we have to divide by 5. So that is 3. The term under Kamalini is what? 1, no? So what do we do? So she also received 1 part, right? So 1 part, that means Kamalini, amount of Veralu that she received is what? 3. Or 1 into 3. Find also the number of Veralu Nimal received. Okay. So we know the value of 1 part, right? So these are Veralu. Right? So how many equal parts does Nimal receive? 3, right? So value of 3 parts. So these are Nimal. That means 3. That means value of 1 part multiplied by number of parts, which is 3. 3 into 3, that is 9. These are 9 Veralu, olives. Question number 3. The ratio of Sinhalese to Tamils to Muslims in a certain city is 5 to 4 to 3, right? If the total population in the city is 7,200, find how many Sinhalese there are in the city. Right, so the total population is given to us, which is 7,200. This is the population in numbers. So we have been given the ratio, no? So we can calculate the value of 1 part. How many total parts are there? 5 plus 4, that's a 9. 9 plus 3, that's a 12, right? So 7,200 we have to divide by 12. So here what do we get? We get 600. So value of 1 part is 600. Now these are people. So under Sinhalese, what is the term? 5. That means value of 5 parts. So that is what? 600 into 5, which is 3000.